Hello!
Hi!
Welcome to the next episode of the Spouting Devil podcast. Thank you for joining us again. My name is Seamus. I'm your co-host.
And I'm Natasha. We're
a married couple.
Yep.
And we just love to geek out about everything film and television and the love of making indie films.
And real quick disclaimer, we're not professional film critics. We're not entertainment lawyers. Take it all with a grain of salt. It's just an opinion.
Sharing our journey.
Yeah, we just like to add to the collective knowledge of independent filmmaking.
Yep.
Yeah.
Shall we dive in?
Let's
get into it.
I did a solo watch.
A sanctioned solo watch.
And I'm working on an idea for, I think it's going to be a feature at this point, because it's just been banging around in my head for years, about a little girl who uses an overactive imagination to deal with some pretty heavy life stuff that she's got going on. So I watched Sweet Tooth on Netflix.
Oh, cool.
And
that's directed by Jim Mickle.
Yeah.
Sweet. Awesome.
Yeah. So it's like dystopian, apocalyptic, sci-fi, based on a comic book. And basically it follows this little boy named Sweet Tooth, also known as Gus. He is a boy-deer hybrid. It's alive! And he exists in this new world, this distant future, where a viral outbreak has happened, and it has bred this new species.
Yeah, you got it. Just
LLJ Cool J.
Species of animal-human hybrid. And I don't want to give too much of it away, but it's a really sweet story about coming of age and self-discovery and being othered. Which right now resonates so much with what's going on in our world.
But also, side note,
yes,
I happen to be in one of Jim Mickle's earlier indie films.
Yes.
It's called Stakeland. It's a dope film. I was a vampire.
It is actually fun.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I was like vampire number 500.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. That's right.
I will forever be grateful to Jim Mickle for allowing me to be in that. And another side note, if Jim Mickle ever sees this, I apologize, because one time I was playing, he asked me to join him. They needed a guy for their like rec basketball league, and man, oh man, I think he was under false pretenses because I'm so tall.
Is it false?
He said, no, it's false. It was false. And he thought I could play basketball, and I could not play basketball like that.
What?
And we lost. So Jim, my bad. I've been working on taking shots, so I just need another, tap me in, coach.
NBA 2K?
NBA 2K, I'm crushing it on there, so sorry about that.
She spoke to me and she said, with this gift, you will win 4th place.
We watched some other stuff too.
Yes, we did.
We got a bunch of screeners.
Ferrari. Adam Driver,
Penelope Cruz, Shailene Woodley, directed by Michael Mann. Wonka. I watched Wonka with Timothée Chalamet. It's a prequel to the original.
Cool.
Fun. And then we watched on Netflix.
Yes. Leave the World Behind, directed by Sam Ismail.
Yes.
It's basically the end of the world is coming, and we got to survive. And I thought it was like a lot of cool psychological thriller stuff going on, and I thought it was really, really well done, and it, is scary, and I thought it was about as close as it could get to, like, if shit really hit the fan, maybe what would happen. That's
really terrifying to think about, because that movie felt very much like I was in the Twilight Zone.
For sure.
Yeah, and okay, so like, obviously it was a great movie. You had
heavy hitters like Ethan Hawke,
Kevin Bacon,
Mahershala Ali, Julia Roberts.
Yeah, and like, I very much appreciated what they were doing, but we're a little divided. I feel like you loved it, and I was kind of like, I was almost there. And I really, really wanted to love it because I'm all about that like world that they've created, and I'll think on it more why. But there was something about it. We're talking a lot of genre.
Yes, we are.
We should introduce our guest.
Our next guest.
In our
so
director
excited.
series.
Yeah.
Her name is Eunice Levis. Writer and director Eunice Levis is a first-generation Dominicana from the Bronx, New York. Eunice's work focuses on genre-bending stories that combine her love of horror, sci-fi, thriller, and fantasy through a diasporic lens. Her work seeks to disrupt and challenge dominant narratives around technology, race, gender, history, and diaspora identity by altering the stories we tell about them.
She is a 2-time Sundance Lab second rounder, a Stowe Story Lab Fellow, and a Netflix NALIP Women of Color Short Film Incubator Fellow. Eunice's folklore horror micro short, Fell Ends, was an extraordinary selection at NYX's 13 Minutes of Horror Film Festival and streamed on Shudder. Her latest film, Row in the Stardust, a space fantasy short, was selected for inclusion in the 2021 NALIP Latino Lens Women of Color Short Film Incubator, sponsored by Netflix. The film won Best Narrative Short at the 25th Annual Real Sisters of the Diaspora Film Festival, making it an Oscar-qualified narrative short film. So dope.
In addition to writing and directing, Eunice teaches at a university and co-hosts Café Negro con Genre, a podcast that promotes creatives working in the genre space. So please welcome Eunice Levis.
Woo!
Good morning, Eunice. How are you?
Good morning. Thank you for joining us.
Guys. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Oh,
Yes, thank you for saying yes and making the time. What were you up to today?
Well, today is actually like my day of rest because I've been running all week, and I actually just wrapped a short that I directed. So there's so much going on. I'm just so happy that we are here. It's the weekend, and I get to just.
Great.
Yes. Do you have any big holiday plans?
I am going to be in the Bronx visiting my mom.
That's it.
And then I'm gonna drive up to White Plains to visit my brother.
Nice.
Oh, great.
And you are based in Philly.
I'm right outside of Philly, yeah.
Okay, so talk to us about that. What's the film like community like in Philly?
I love it. It's like the community is real. Like everyone knows each other. Everyone's helpful. It's a small community, but it's like a thriving community. There's also like this energy of creating this, developing this creative economy here that is already existing in like New York. So here's like more of supporting each other to build it as opposed to like sustaining it, which is what New York, the feel is for New York.
Yeah. Oh, I love that sense of community and like building on each other's skills. What's this short about? Can you talk about it? The one you just directed?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. So it is called Affordable Housing, and it is a campy mixed media horror short. So it's animation and live action.
Ooh.
So cool.
It is my first film that I'm directing a stunt. So I was just so excited for that. And the idea behind it is, in order to keep your affordable housing, you got to slay some monsters.
Hell yes, I love it. And so, are you officially wrapped on that short?
I am. I'm officially wrapped as of the wee early morning hours of Monday, I think it was.
Oh,
and
great.
So post-production kicks off right after the holiday.
Congratulations.
Awesome.
That's so
Could you
exciting.
talk about the stunt at all?
Yeah.
Like what was involved? What were the steps?
So I could talk about one stunt. So there was a stunt where the creature is leaping from the top of the stairs to the bottom of the stairs. So we had to cheat that. And, we had to get a stunt designer and, working with pads and working with angles. And it was just a lot of fun. So not to give too much away, but the stunt was just awesome. It was fun.
Great.
I love that.
Great.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
And so you had an amazing short film. Congratulations with Row in the Stardust.
Yeah, beautiful
Such
film.
a beautiful journey, and you were backed by NALIP. So can you talk to us a little bit about that short, the festival run that you went on, and just like where you're at with that project right now?
So, Row in the Stardust was part of the Latino Lens Women of Color Short Film Incubator, 2021. It was the part of the inaugural program. I was one of 4 that was selected. These mujeres I love them. They're friends still. We talk probably it's like every other week.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, we've become really close. So the incubator, the purpose of it was you would create a short film that you can then use as kind of like your calling card to get more work. So NALIP, it was a NALIP initiative funded by Netflix. And we got, I think it was $25,000 to create these shorts. So part of that whole process is like also illustrating that even though this is genre, it was feasible to do it in that amount of money. So I had to do a lot of tweaking of my own vision so that I could develop the world that people can then see, oh, she had much more money, she can develop this far
Right.
more,
Right.
So, it was a lot of things that had to be baked into that short. But the goal of it, like I said, was to kind of create this calling card in the genre space where, I want to be known for having this, this point of view and this just um, affinity for for genre, and it really worked. My strategy was to get it into the festivals that were, specific to genre, but also specific to the Latino voice and the diaspora voice, and get it as far as possible. And then we won. We got into several Oscar qualifying festivals, but
Yeah,
we
you did.
Yeah, you did.
yes, we went into got into Real Sisters of Diaspora in Harlem. We won that best narrative short,
Woo!
and it just took us on this wild journey of what it meant to be an Oscar qualifying short.
Wow. Congratulations.
Yeah,
That
Thank
congratulations.
you.
That's so huge.
and the trajectory that that project has had is just so inspiring. Congrats.
Thank you
And
so much.
and I'm wondering too if you can talk at all about, right? So NALIP is sponsored
Mhm.
by Netflix. In my head, I know nothing. In my head, I'm seeing, is there a person in a suit that walks onto set and is like overseeing? What was the relationship like with actual Netflix, or were they
Right.
not that involved like that?
So the way it worked was Nalib kind of oversaw the development, the mentorship, making sure we had the resources. Netflix was more of an overseer, making sure that that all of the content that we were creating and all of the um, just in general, our shooting plan, our production plan, our shooting scripts, everything was kind of in compliance with the expectation that Netflix has on everything that they work with.
Mm.
So they did give us notes. They did want to edit draft. They wanted, like it was very much a step by step process, very similar to getting the experience of working with a studio. Um,
Mm.
is
Cool.
what and obviously they also gave us the flexibility of being independent filmmakers. But I'll give you an example. My short is 50% Spanish language.
Mhm.
It was really important to me that the characters spoke broken Spanish, just like
Mhm.
I do. I
Mhm.
don't, I break into Spanish every once in a while, and then I come back, and I
Yeah.
wanted to have that authenticity in the script, and Netflix allowed it. And I really thought that it was gonna be a problem,
Hmm.
but they were super supportive, and I made sure that upfront they knew that some of the notes were like, there was one specific note that I kinda went against, and I was like, "I can't believe they let me do that."
Ooh.
So, um, in the Dominican culture, you could call your mom mama, you could call
Mhm.
your grandmother mama, and
Mhm.
then if they're both in the room, you know that mama is grandma and mommy is,
Yeah.
so,
Mm.
abuela, so you kind of it's a cultural cue. You don't have to explain it like, "Oh, no, I was talking to grandma."
Mhm.
So, I have her calling her grandmother mama or abuela throughout the
Uh-huh.
whole her meaning my lead. Um, and one of the notes was like, "Just call her abuela because it's confusing when she says mommy and then she calls her abuela and mama."
Uh-huh.
Mm.
And I was like, no, she calls her abuela when she's directing to her, but she calls her mama as, in term of endearment, but
Right.
also that's her name for her. And I pushed back on it, and they allowed it. And I was like,
Yeah.
oh,
Yeah.
but I
Awesome.
know that in all the other cultures, it would read weird, like, why is she
Mm,
Mm.
calling both of them mama? But I feel like we as the audience and as spectators often bend to other people's cultural nuances in their film, and this is my film, this is
that's
my
Mm.
voice.
right.
That's
That's
right.
And
right.
that's, it was really important for me to be, again, authentic as possible.
Where in your filmmaking journey were you like, you know what? I think genre is my lane.
You know what? Um, it actually didn't start with film.
Okay.
I had the opportunity to write a play for the Latino in oh my gosh, I'm gonna forget the name. The Latina in Theater Film Festival.
Okay.
It was a festival that was part of New York City Fringe, um, at the New Yorican Poets Cafe.
Oh,
Oh,
cool.
great.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I kind of want to write. I knew that I wanted to write something where we suspended belief. I knew that I
Mhm.
wanted to kind of push through narratives that we're used to. And so I wrote a play called The Big Bad Lobo about merengue loving wolf that was a
Uh-huh.
womanizer.
Oh, I love that. Oh my God.
And it was Little Red Riding Hood, but not.
I
He
love
was,
that.
he just wanted to dance merengue all the time. So I really did have like a wolf on set, full costume, dancing Oro Solido on the stage. I really did do that.
I
And
love that.
one of the things that I realized was like, I love this space. I love to create this like poke fun at things, but also not be held to reality and not
Mm,
be held to the pain that exists outside of this genre.
Mm,
And
mm,
I can just create characters that just are.
mm.
Uh,
mm.
and that's when I started to realize like, oh, this is my lane. This feels good to me.
Oh, what an exciting thing to realize.
And I
So,
can't wait to see that movie.
yeah.
When is that dropping? When is
Gotta
that
make it.
dropping?
Gotta make it.
So just if you could really quick talk us through, I guess, how you came to be a filmmaker,
Oh yeah.
because you're saying that you were in plays. So what was before that? And like, yeah.
Yeah. So I actually started out as a journalist.
Hmm.
I
Oh
used
cool.
to work at El Diario La Prensa,
Oh
and I was
yeah.
the executive assistant of Rosana Rosado. She was the publisher and executive. And I then also got the opportunity to write for like the New York Post and Urban Latino magazine and all that good
Whoa.
stuff. And I realized pretty quickly, maybe a few years in, that there was something much more lasting in images, in moving image,
Mm,
than in words.
Mm.
And I started to look into what that was, and how to tell a fuller story with moving images. And then I just fell in love with it. But my journey started as a journalist and just knowing how to put together a story that's compelling.
oh,
Mm.
I love that so much.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Were there any specific films you fell in love with at an early age that have influenced your style today?
Yes,
Mm,
so many. So in terms of sci-fi, like my sci-fi tastes were really molded by like all things Steven Spielberg, right?
Mm.
mm,
So, and Wes Craven and Stephen King and those nightmare type of tales. And it's just films like E.T. and Nightmare
yeah.
on Elm Street and
Mhm.
Gremlins and
AI.
Poltergeist.
Yeah.
Yes, and Attack the Block, and
Uh-huh.
Mm.
now obviously Pan's Labyrinth and Black Panther, and now Blue Beetle.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
There are so many films that kind of molded what I thought I can do,
Mm.
the limitlessness of genre, and yeah, those were my early influences. But also, I grew up in a household that I am a first generation Dominican American. And so my household was a mix of like Spanish language, Sábado Gigante, and novelas mixed in with like, okay, maybe we can squeeze in, a little bit of sci-fi. So I think that part of like my mom specifically not being fully immersed in the English language, seeing fantastical tales and seeing sci-fi, it kind of tells itself, right? Because it relies on human emotion, as does horror. So if something is scary universally, you know. So we were able to kind of enjoy those types of films together without me having to constantly translate.
Mm. Has there been any film that has come out in the recent year that has been in the genre landscape that you're like, all right, they did it right?
Ooh,
Because we just saw Godzilla -1
So
recently.
good.
It was
I
so
haven't
fun.
seen
It's
it.
such a good monster movie. It's such a
I
good
can't
monster
wait.
movie. I
Monster
love it.
movie
Yeah.
is my next thing. I can't wait.
Nice.
It's amazing. Amazing.
But
Okay, I
there's
have to
some
see it.
great horror coming out now. We saw the one
Yes.
with the hand.
Oh yeah.
That
That
was
was
intense.
that
That
was
was insane.
intense.
That was really well done.
Mhm.
There are a lot that have been really
Yeah.
well done. I think that, one that didn't get a lot of play, but the visual effects are absolutely stunning was Creator, or was it called The Creator with,
Oh
Yes, yeah.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
yeah, the visual effects are just absolutely gorgeous. And I think that overall, I maybe the story could have been told in a different way, or maybe the edit could have been done differently. I don't know. Um, but it was a really interesting story, really scary story, and just the camera work and the visual effects were outstanding.
And I hear like their big flex is that they pulled off a studio movie with not a studio budget. To us, it's like, whoa, that's so much money.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
but to them, it's like indie
Yeah.
indie
Yeah, right,
scale
right. Like
film.
you did this on the shoestring $9 million budget.
I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, give me
Yeah.
9 million, I'll do
Yeah.
a TV show.
I was wondering if you could walk us through your process. Do you write everything you direct, or do you adapt?
So I up until recently, I in the narrative space, I've directed everything that I've written. However, with the movie that I just wrapped, Affordable Housing is actually written by Wimoto Nayoka, and it is the first narrative piece that I direct that I did not write.
What was
So
that like? Tell us that.
you know
Yeah.
what? It's so funny because I was just kind of like really taking it in, and there's something really special about being able to articulate visually what someone has written,
Mm.
Mm,
and to respect those words and to respect what they saw in their mind. Oftentimes, people who just write and don't direct, um, they're at the mercy of the director interpreting what they wrote. And it was very uh, important to me to respect. Um, what she saw in her story, in her words. I really wanted to I mean, there were probably two things that we didn't capture, but just
mhm,
because logistically it was possible,
Yeah.
and just time wise. And I really wanted to, obviously wrap it and get my days and be
mhm,
respectful of people's time. But it was really important for me for her to see her vision come to life,
mm.
because we don't get, as writers, we don't really get that opportunity.
Mm.
That's so lovely. I love that.
Yeah.
There's so many of those like little marriages on set
Yeah.
between the director and someone else. Like
Yes.
the director and the DP are like their little like husband, wife duo,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
And
That
then and then you have your production designer. And so like
yeah.
who's like your go-to crew member? I know that's a hard question, and don't name names because I don't want anyone to be like all
That is
sad
a
or
hard one.
anything.
So, it's funny because I have been guilty of using the same folks on different sets. And that's mainly because, to be honest, when you have a small budget, you don't have a lot of space for error and a lot of
Mm.
space to get to know people. And
Mhm.
so when you have to make your days and you know that X person knows your style, knows how to dump your footage, knows how to check it, it's almost like you get this shorthand of how to work with each other and collaborate on set. But this last time, I actually worked with all new people,
Ooh.
except for wardrobe. But I worked with all new people, and I found some people that I'm like, I'm gonna keep this person. They're amazing.
Nice.
Yep.
So it's nice to find gems on your set, and it's
Hmm.
hard when you don't, and you have to kind of like figure it out as you're going. But that's the job, right? The job
Yeah.
of the director is not only obviously captain of the ship, but you're also managing the project, and it is your task, no matter who's on that set, to get this done. It
That's
really is.
right.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think that's something that people don't understand, that they think, you just roll action or you get to
Yeah.
hang out
Right.
with the directors all day. And it's like, and I know it from this limited scope, and I know that it's even more detailed the bigger sets you get on, but it's like you're in charge of everything. You
Yeah.
you you
Yep.
got to know what the set dressing is like coming
Uh-huh.
up. You got to
Yeah.
know why the character is emotionally in that state,
Hmm.
what costume looks best with so
Yeah.
it's such an awesome job. I love
I love
directors. I
it.
it's I
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's demystify a little bit, because we're
Yeah.
all about like breaking through gates. And this is
Yeah.
a little bit of a twofer. So being an artist is expensive. We all have, not all of us, but a lot of us
Mm.
have other day jobs.
Hmm.
Yeah.
What is your day job if you have one? And then how do
Yeah.
you go about fundraising your own projects?
Hmm.
Yeah. All right. So to sustain life,
Yes.
I'm an adjunct professor. I teach digital filmmaking, among other things. And in terms of how do I fund, I think that I depend a lot on grants
Mm,
and labs. I think
Uh-huh.
that there's something really special about getting labs or getting a grant, because it exposes you to, again, to resources that you may not have on your own, advocacy and championing that you may not have on your own.
mhm.
So I really love that. I also do crowdfunding, especially for finishing funds. So I never do it in the beginning
Oh, you do
Mhm.
it for post?
upfront. I
Interesting.
do it for post. And the
Oh,
reason I
yeah.
do that
Cool.
is because I want people to see, like, I've done it. Help me
Mm.
get it to the finish line, as opposed
Mhm.
to like it's all like in my head and I'm just there like a talking head, like, please help me. So I
Right.
Yeah.
want to show them like, hey, I put skin in the game. I spent $14,000 of my own money, and now I just
Uh-huh.
need your, and I feel like it works much better because people get to see their return on investment almost immediately,
Mm.
as
Mm.
opposed to like in 2 years you're gonna see that this is done. Like, no, we got it done, we got it in the can. Now I just need to pay for editing or the visual effects, or I had another film called Invade, and we had some visual effects at the end that we needed. So I literally, like, my campaign was like, insert here, like, and
Yeah.
this is
Oh,
full crack, and
smart.
like that sort of stuff, so that
Fun.
people are like, please pay for this crack here and pay
Yeah.
for the trembling here. So you gotta be really creative with it, but also understand that you want people to support you, but you also want to show that you're worth supporting, because there's people being asked for money everywhere.
All the
So I
time.
like to show them as close to as possible the finished product so that I can beg.
That's a
for-
great nugget.
That
That's a
is
huge
such
nugget.
yeah, that is brilliant, doing it
Hmm.
from a post aspect. I don't know why I've never thought of that. That's amazing.
Yeah,
Thank
that's
you.
brilliant. Yeah.
And so being a professor, what's that like?
Oh my gosh, I love it. To be honest, the fall semester is always harder than the spring, because in
Mhm.
fall we have all these holidays, and like the students after like Halloween is just like their brain just slowly goes away. Um, but I love it. I learn so much from them. I relearn things that I forget. I
Mm.
know what it's like to have that, to be frustrated and not have like the footage that you want, or
Mm.
missing a shot and stuff like that. So there's a lot that I learn from, young filmmakers, that I then I'm able to employ and kind of help my own cast and crew and myself through, on set. And I'm constantly in that space of learning and relearning and teaching the initial idea of what is this, you know format of digital filmmaking, and how can I push it, and how can I kind of manipulate it. But it all starts with learning like classic film and
Mhm.
classic
Mhm.
film structure and what we're emulating, because clearly you know, the industry has existed for, for 100 years before us, but knowing why you do certain things and why things were done and now why things are different is really important.
Hmm.
So anyway, I really love the history of it and kind of bringing it and bridging it to now. It's just, yeah, it's really special, and I just really love my students.
Oh,
Oh, that's
wonderful.
awesome. And it must be so fun to see them like figure something out and you're
It
like,
is.
that's it, little caterpillar. You
Yeah.
got
Yes. Yes. It's
And
awesome. But, yeah, it's
sorry,
really
sorry,
cool.
please.
No,
Oh, and speaking of school,
yeah.
having you've gone the MFA route, correct?
I haven't. I received my MA from NYU.
Got it.
Fantastic.
Okay.
And how do you think that changed your career trajectory, or how that helped mold you, if at all?
Yeah.
If at all. So NYU definitely helped mold me, mold me. Every school, I always tell my students is every school, every film school, every film program, or just every school in general, has a very specific point of view, right? So NYU, looking at the staff and looking at the people that come out of there, what style and what the methodology is for this particular filmmaking, as USC, UCLA, all of these schools have if you look at their faculty, you kind of see the sum of their work and like what they're really going for. So when I applied to NYU, I applied for actually there was another director. His name is Pete Chapman, and he had graduated from NYU, and I really just liked where he was going with his um, career. And I was like, if I can get the skill set that he has, I know I can turn it into what I need it to be. And
Mm,
so I applied on the strength that I liked what he was doing with his
Mm.
education.
mm,
Um, and so with NYU, it just got me into the spaces in the rooms with people who had similar point of view than I did. I became I have several colleagues that really understand where I'm coming from and the struggles that I have specifically, as a Afro Latina from the city. It resonates, with others, and they understand who I am. So it also exposed me to like colleagues and resources and professors that help me move the needle,
mm.
and help challenge me. Honestly, I had my advisor for my entire grad. It took me forever to finish my grad. Was Keith Miller, and Keith always was super hard to impress.
Mm.
Like
Mm.
he was never impressed, and I was just like, I'm gonna impress you,
One
but
day I'm gonna get this guy.
yeah, I'm gonna do it.
Yeah.
But it challenged me to be better because I think that oftentimes just doing the job was the goal. And
Mm.
it's just like, oh, it's not just doing it, it's doing it and really articulating that you understand, you know.
Mm.
Mm.
So all of these things I got from NYU, and I would say that it definitely,
Help
it
shape,
was
yeah.
yeah, it helped shape me, and it wasn't even like solely like theoretical, right? It outside of NYU, after that, filmmaking, it requires hands-on
Whew.
training, and it demands superior project management skills. The thing with filmmaking that people don't understand is that when you're a dancer, you practice dancing. When you're when you that sort of stuff. But when you're a painter, you practice
Mhm.
painting. But when you are a filmmaker, someone has to give you money, or you have to invest a certain amount of money to learn the skill,
Yep.
Mhm.
Yep.
because it's all theory. And
Yep.
until you're hands on doing it, you don't get the experience. So a lot of us get stuck because we're not able to flex that muscle and learn, because no one is putting
Mhm.
us on set to learn the skill. So,
Absolutely.
Oh, you worded that so well.
Yeah.
So there's all these little isms, right, on set.
yes.
So there's fix it in
Oh gosh.
pre-pro,
There's
right?
right
Yeah.
what you know.
Which we talked
Right.
about that in our last episode, and
Uh,
Alex Rubin had a beautiful explanation about that. Can you share any of your set philosophies that you've developed?
Ooh, that's hard. It's hard.
My
Set
my my
philosophy.
thing is like I hate hearing, "Oh, we'll fix it in post." No,
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 never,
fix it
No.
never.
right
No,
now.
we will
No,
not do that.
we will
Yeah.
never do that.
Yeah.
No.
So one of the things that so I'll do two things. One is
Yeah, yeah.
superstitious. Oh, today's gonna be an easy day. Don't ever say that. Just
Don't.
get
Yeah.
off my set right now.
Yeah.
Like, don't
Yeah.
say that because it's
No way
never
it's gonna rain. Yeah.
right.
Yeah. Yep.
And then the
Yep.
other thing is, I guess, and it's not really on the set, but it's more so in general, like you show, you don't tell. So if we're relying so heavily, and obviously this comes from the page, but also sometimes there's opportunity to do like, additional footage and B-roll and just like a lot of coverage to chop up some heavy dialogue or whatever. So like take your time in crafting your shots
Mhm.
so that you're showing the story and aiding, the dialogue. So I love doing that. I love getting just random B-roll and I really do.
Because you
And
never
I
know
think
where you're gonna use it.
Yeah.
exactly. And you can just like it really obviously editing is the next level of the story, right? So like in the editing process, missing something is worse than having too much.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd rather have too much and just keep
Yep.
it rolling, keep it rolling. So those are things that I do on set. So don't say it's an easy day. Number one.
You're number one.
Not only fix it in pre-pro, but also fix it on set.
That's
Like do it
right.
now.
Uh-huh.
Fix it on set. And I also love, like, since I'm in genre, I like to do a lot of practical effects. So whenever I could do it in a practical way, I want to do it right now in camera. Like, let's
Mm.
just do it and get it over with. Give you an example. Let's say that one of your characters gets sliced, right?
Mhm.
And a lot of people will be like, oh, the gag of like, spewing or whatever. Some people will do that in post. I want to see it right then and there, and then maybe amplify it in post. But
Mm.
I want to see the gag of like the blood spewing and stuff like that. Like I want to see it right then and there, so that I know that I have it. And if I don't have the money to do visual effects, it won't ruin my whole entire scene. But also, um, I can make it that much better in post if I do have some money.
I was wondering, what has your experience been with securing reps?
Um, so in terms of management, I think that they've come to me.
Okay.
It's not hasn't really been a way of me reaching out. Like it hasn't worked that way for me. And honestly, I think that oftentimes we're looking for reps and we're not ready for them.
Mhm.
And we don't have that conversation. Like everybody's like thinks like you're gonna have a manager and everything's gonna be fine. No, you have to have a manager and you gotta get your stuff together because that person's gonna be shopping you around and you gotta be ready.
Mhm.
So I think that we have to learn how to be ready for opportunities, regardless of whether you have a manager or not. Um, the manager will come, especially if you're ready.
Mhm.
But to
Mhm.
get a manager and have that person just sit there and you not do anything, I mean, I've experienced that personally. I just didn't know what that relationship was supposed to be. And I didn't know what was expected of me. So knowing that and knowing what your responsibility is as a client and just also understanding that that person's on your payroll, that person doesn't get paid unless you generate something.
Right.
So you have to be ready for that level of commitment because it's an exchange, right?
Mhm.
That person is relying on you and you're relying on that person and you have to just be ready. So um
Yeah.
that's my experience.
Absolutely. And also, as an actor, I've learned very quickly that just because you have a rep doesn't mean like, all right, here come the
Yeah,
big
let me lay back.
roles. You still
Yep.
got to work. You still have to make
Yep.
your own stuff and keep hustling and
Yep.
grinding. So, yeah,
Yep.
absolutely.
Oh,
Yep.
this is a new segment.
Yeah, we're
We're
going to try a new
excited for
segment here.
this. It's
Okay.
speed
A
round.
speed round.
And we don't even
Woo,
know
okay.
all the questions that
Yeah.
we are gonna ask.
Yeah.
If there's
All right.
anything that you're like, oh, just wave it off.
Yep.
Are you ready
Okay.
for speed round?
All right, ready.
Okay. What is a dream TV show that you would love to direct an episode of?
2 of them.
Do it.
X-Files reboot.
Yes.
And True Blood reboot.
Ooh, love
Hell
that.
Yeah. If you weren't a filmmaker, what else would you be doing? Anything.
Journalism or an anthropologist.
Oh, love that. That was my major. Hunter.
Oh, nice.
Okay.
Go.
If you could only have one meal every day for the rest of your life, what are you eating?
Oh my god.
Gotta
Oh
send
my
it.
gosh.
I know.
Mango.
Oh yes,
Perfect.
very good. Okay.
Oh, dream actor, actress that you would love to work with in a film.
Oh my gosh.
Or
So my
anything.
dream actress that I want to work with, that I'm going to work with, is Leslie Grace. I love her. I want to work with her so badly.
I love that.
And my dream actor, I've already had an opportunity to work with my dream actor, which is Elvis Nolasco.
Oh,
But my
awesome.
next dream actor will probably be, oh my God, I guess Jeffrey Wright. I would love to work with Jeffrey Wright. He's amazing. And Anthony Hopkins, like, who the hell wouldn't want to work with him?
Hell yeah.
Okay.
Hell yeah.
He's amazing.
Guilty pleasure. What's a movie that some people are like, really? But you're like, I love it. I love it.
Oh, guilty pleasure. Let me think about this. I have so
Me too. Me too.
I really like, okay, so sometimes I watch Harry Potter over and over and over again. That's
Obsessed.
just,
She's
yeah, it's
totally
amazing.
obsessed. Totally obsessed.
So I think that I wouldn't call it a guilty pleasure. I feel like it's
Yeah.
valid. Like,
Yeah,
it's
hell
awesome.
yeah, hell yeah.
I watch
Yeah.
that. And then oftentimes I also watch I have a 9-year-old, so I watch Miraculous Ladybug.
Oh, cute.
Oh,
So good. I really like it. So I watched that.
that's great.
Go.
If you could film anywhere in the world, where would you film?
Oh, good one.
Dominican Republic.
Yes.
Boom.
Okay. If you could have just 3 crew members to make a short film, only 3, which 3 are you choosing?
Yeah.
DP, AD, sound.
Booyah. And then everything else, we just do it together.
We just figure it out.
And because it's the holiday seasons, what is your favorite holiday movie?
For Christmas, Elf.
Oh, I mean,
classic.
Hello.
Classic.
I love that. Okay, so we call. Thank you for.
Thank you so much for being the first contestant of Speed Round on this podcast.
I love how it was like, yeah, speed round, and I'm like,
Yeah, no. So for this section, we're calling this the nugget section, right? Tips for aspiring filmmakers.
Okay.
Do you have a favorite piece of directing advice that you've ever received, or the worst piece of advice you've ever received?
And you don't have to name names if you don't want to.
Yeah. Okay, so I have 2 of the best.
Okay.
One is do it afraid, and just do it afraid. You're never gonna feel ready. You just gotta do it, because you're not gonna be ready until you do it. You just, like I said, it's hands-on learning.
Facts.
The second is promote yourself. The 2 nuggets that I appreciate. The one that is horrible is also promote yourself.
Oh man, yeah.
I hate it so much.
Yeah, it's brutal.
But you got to keep it going. You have to, like, you really, I mean, the industry and just the things that we have to do now to compete really dictate you having to be a more social person. So being like an introvert, I'm an introverted person, but having like those down days where I just don't want to talk to anyone doesn't really work. You have to like push past it, because you want to excite people with your vision.
Yeah, I feel you on that, because one of my weakest things is social media, and I'm trying so hard to get better at it.
And we're doing it.
And we are. But TikTok is so foreign to me, but it's like how you're saying, you got to promote yourself, you got to put your stuff out there.
We got to hang out with your little nephews
9-year-old
and nieces
Yeah,
to show us the ropes of this TikTok. Yeah. Yep.
What are your go-to resources for staying sharp on your craft?
Um, so I attend a lot of festivals, even when I'm not in them. I
Mm.
think that looking at the programming, you get an idea of what's kind of getting programmed, but also oftentimes these film festivals have like a lot of panels and stuff like that, so it keeps you kind of sharp in that way. I follow local film offices and like
Mm.
their blogs and what they're doing because initiatives in the film office is also a way to kind of see what your state is doing or your city.
Interesting.
And podcasts, craft specific podcasts are really important. And just I learned so much from
Mm.
there. And
Do you
I'd
have a
say,
favorite one, or
oh
a
my
few
gosh,
where
what is the
you
name?
love doing the
I
rounds?
do have a favorite one. I'm gonna get the name wrong, but it's Pete Chapman. If you again, Pete
Okay.
Chapman.
And
Yeah,
If
yeah,
we'll
yeah.
you
plug it in. We'll plug it in and make sure.
awesome,
Yeah,
awesome, thank you, because I don't remember the name, but that's
that's a
one of my favorites.
great.
Um, and what else do I do? Podcasts, panels, and organizations. So NALIP, obviously, you can join as a member. They have a ton of things going on. New Filmmaker LA, Women in Film, New York Women in Film, which is incredible.
Mhm.
Just all of these, what is that? The Alliance for Women Directors.
Mm.
So all of these things that you can join, not only to kind of build your team and build your tribe, but also to build yourself up because the stronger the membership, the more likely you are to have someone who's doing what you want to do.
Mm.
And that's really important. Like for example, when I get off here, I'm going to call someone who's done something that I want to, that I want to apply to, and like, what do I need? Do I need a visa to, to go to Berlin? Do I need like what
Mm.
do I need to do?
Ah.
So those are things that having people who have walked that walk. It's nice. That's part of the reason why you would become a member to any of those
Mm.
organizations.
Absolutely.
Thank you for that. We're gonna put that in the
Like
graphics.
links too that people can find these spaces.
What are you working on right now, and where can we follow your journey? Let's
This is the
plug it in.
social media promote yourself plug.
Yes.
This is it.
Okay, so right now I am working on a few things. I'm about to kick off post-production on affordable housing. I am working on developing the feature-length version of Roll the Stardust. The
Oh,
feature is called To the
cool.
Moon, and I'm really
Yes.
excited about that.
Good for
And I'm also working
you.
on developing a horror animated series called The Body Dies.
Oh, great.
Oh my God, I love that.
And is there a website, Instagram? Let's plug these
Yeah, yeah,
Yes.
socials.
yeah,
Let's
yeah.
plug them. TikTok.
Oh, you can man, TikTok.
Uh,
You can find me at eunice.levis.com and just follow me on my contact page across all social media platforms.
Fantastic.
and I can't believe we forgot to ask, what are you watching right now?
Oh yeah.
Ooh, what am I watching? Goodness. So I'm playing like catch up on so many things. Like
Yeah.
I'm rewatching The Changeling on
Oh,
Apple, which I
I
freaking
uh-huh.
love.
want to
It's
see
Victor
that.
Yes,
Yeah.
so the book was obviously bananas.
Uh-huh.
The series is amazing. It's
Ah.
amazing. I watched it and I felt like I wanted to be with the characters again, so I started watching it again, and
Oh,
I've
great.
just been really enjoying that process. I've also been watching uh what is this called? It's a cartoon and I cannot remember it.
Is it the Ladybug cartoon?
It's okay. You can
No,
tell us
it's
the
it's
truth.
close. It's close. It's the Dracula cartoon. But I've been focusing on the Chainlink and I've been focusing on just other movies that I'm trying to catch up on because I've been on, just like Oscar campaign mode and
Yeah.
pre-production for the
No big
shorts.
whoop. That's great. Great.
Is there anything else you want to leave us with people who are listening with about being a filmmaker, about being a woman in the industry, about being Afro Latina in the industry? Anything you want to leave us with?
Yeah, I think that oftentimes we forget that as an artist, you're making art that you like. and that you will find your audience. And I think that oftentimes we try so hard to dictate what the audience would like, and that's not how it is. And I spent so much time trying to do that instead of being um, kind to my own creative mind. And the moment that I decided that I am going to honor my own creative sensibilities, that's when things really blew up for me. Because it was really, I think that people really saw that it was authentic and that this is how I think and this is what I'm passionate about. So I didn't have to fake it. And not that I was faking it before, but there was a lot of, in my previous work, there was a lot of things that I was replicating that I saw was successful in other people, and I wanted to try it. But in Growing the Star, this was really the first time that I was just like, I kind of want, I kind of want this to happen. I want them to make a soup. I want the grandmother to be cranky. I want, like those kind of stuff. Like I want her to kind of be like fierce, and I want, I want when you walk in to say bendición mami. It's those little things that are so important to me that get lost in the film. I'm sure there's a ton of little nuances that people didn't pick up that it was just important to me. Like when I see a little plátano peeking on the countertop, I'm like, I placed that there, so embrace your creative voice and be, if you like your art, you're going to find your people. Period. So embrace your weird. I always say that.
Embrace your weird.
Embrace your weird.
That needs to be a t-shirt.
Yeah.
Yes.
Embrace your weird. I love that.
I love it. It's beautiful
piece of advice.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Of course. Thank you guys
so much for agreeing to do this, joining us, talking with us, and sharing your knowledge. And just thank you so much.
My pleasure.
It's been awesome watching a fellow Latina just have all the achievements that you have been having in the industry. And I just want you to know that people are watching and you are inspiring people. And I thank you.
That's amazing. And it feels fantastic. And I hope that, whatever I've said can help someone take the next step. That's all I want. Like, there's space for all of us. Like, come on.
That's right.
Absolutely.
The water's fine.
For all of us.
Yes.
Well,
thank you, guys.
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays.
And thank you so much.
To you.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Take care.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
And we're back.
And welcome back.
I hope you loved chatting with her. I feel like we could have gotten so many more nuggets.
Yeah.
But time.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Thank you to Eunice for being a part of the podcast. And I just learned so much.
And being a part of like the indie film space and like telling stories about people of color where we are not trauma or sadness or stereotype. We are heroes. We are magical. We are science fiction. And that is really cool. That is so up my alley.
And super honest. And just trying to leave us as many nuggets as she could. And it was awesome. Yeah.
Also, happy holidays.
Happy holidays.
We hope that you spend time with family and friends and send love to people around the world who are dealing with things and could use some extra love and support.
Absolutely. Yeah. And also get ready to rock out for the new year. I hope everybody gets their resolutions fucking set and written in stone and go get your goals. Yeah. And I mean, also speed round. What's your favorite holiday movie? Go. It's Santa Claus with Tim Allen. Get the fuck out. Nope. I love it and I stand by it. That's it. Are you serious? Of all the movies? I was just waiting for my dad one day to fall off a roof and turn into Santa Claus. I believed it was real and You're sticking to it.
I think it's a good idea and I stand by it.
Yeah. You stand by it. Sticking to it. I'm standing by it. All right. I'm gonna go with A Christmas Story because classic. Yep. Yes. Basic, but classic. Wow, rude. Check us out on YouTube and Spotify and wherever else you get your podcasts. Our next guest is a badass director. Her name is Elaine Del Valle, and that'll be available very soon. Woo! And thank you for joining the The name, babe. I don't know about this. And thank you for joining us on the Spouting Devil podcast.